السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا رسول الله وآله وصحبه من والاه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وبعد. Inshallah ta'ala, tonight we're going to continue to talk about the rights and responsibilities of the spouses, husbands and wives on one another. And we said the ayah that we're trying to understand is ayah number 19 in Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa is chapter 4. And we saw today how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about one of the bad habits that was common in the pre-Islamic period before Islam came. That people used to be unjust towards women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we explained today when He said, لا يحل لكم أن ترثوا النساء كرها, that word, the karha, تخصيص الشيء بالذكر لا يدل على نفي ما عداه. We said that even if women are okay being oppressed or being wronged or being hurt or being given names, even if they are okay with this because of their culture or because of the restrictions they have in the community, they cannot speak up or whatever else, community restrictions, culture stuff, even if they are okay with this, Islam is not okay with this. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. The scholars of tafsir, they commented in that one in particular and they said, it's our obligation as a Muslim community, individuals and people who are in charge, to take actions if we see a husband who is being unjust towards his wife, or a father towards his daughter, or a brother towards his sister, or whatever, even a son towards his mother. If you see any kind of injustice, we need to speak up. When you see someone actually talking about the rights of women in Islam, that has nothing to do with him being a feminist or he's siding with women. It has nothing to do with this. Because at some other points we speak about the rights of men in Islam. I remember like 5 years ago when I came here first, I was very fresh. I didn't know anything about the culture, how the community sees things. And I was talking about women going outside, and I said that a Muslim woman is not allowed to go outside without her husband's permission, which is his right in Islam. And we talked today about the different kinds of permission. It can be general permission for her to go outside whenever she wants, right? And then I said even if she wants to go pray at the masjid, she cannot go pray without the husband's permission. And for her to pray at home is better for her than praying at the masjid of Rasulullah behind Rasulullah himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what he said in hadith Ibn Khuzaymah, hadith narrated by Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Hibban and others. And remember that I received that email. There was a sister that's so upset with me because I was talking about the rights of the husbands and how women are supposed to stay at home if the husband is not doesn't give her the permission to go outside. So I don't want to receive the same reaction while I'm talking now about the sister's rights. We're just trying to educate ourselves. I'm married, and I have a lot of people here who are married, or even people who are not married. They can also understand how Islam sees our sisters and our daughters. You know, even if we're not married, if I'm a brother, for example, or a son, how Islam sees my mother, right? And we said, وَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ لِتَذْهَبُوا بِبَعْضِ مَا آتَيْتُمُوهُنَّ. We need to understand that a woman in Islam, she has what's called الذِّمَّة الْمَالِيَّة خاصة بها. Her wealth, her money, whatever she makes, whatever her family gives her is absolutely her money. It's completely separate from the husband's money. I know now we sometimes have shared accounts for people who are married. But you know, at the end of the day, in Islam, if you don't have shared accounts, she still has her own money, and we cannot take anything from her money without the permission of the woman. Like, you know what? SubhanAllah. She is allowed to take from my money whatever is sufficient for her. That's one of the rights that Islam gives the wives. Because I am responsible financially. But for her, she doesn't have to provide for me financially. Even if she makes more money, even if she has a job and she makes more money than me, I'm not allowed to take from her money without her permission. And if she gives me money, it can be considered as sadaqah or even zakah. Imagine that. Like if the husband is poor, the wife can give him from her zakah. Because she makes more money, or she came from a wealthy family and he's not making enough, she can give him zakah. Or she can lend him some money and then he pays her back. Right? That's one of the rights. And we also have a lot of rights on them. The first right for the husband on his wife is obedience. Some people, when they hear this, they get offended, but you know, we're not here to please some people and offend others. We're just here to say what Islam says. The husband has to be obeyed. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. We're supposed to give them the chance to give their opinion and discuss everything with them and having decent discussions together. But at the end of the day, the decision is up to the husband, not up to the wife. For example, we want to move. Like she really wants to move. She hates the house. She doesn't like the place where you're living. And you tell her, no, I cannot move because I work in this city. I cannot go somewhere else. Find me a better job somewhere else and I will move. And you start arguing, and at the end of the day, she has to stay wherever her husband is planning to stay. You know why? The scholars took this from the story of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to Adam and Hawa and he asked them to go down to earth, he said, قُلْنَا اهْبِطَا مِنْهَا جَمِيعًا. He was talking to them both. It's an instruction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to two of his creations, two of his servants. So he's talking to the husband and the wife together. But when it comes to movement, we're going to move somewhere else, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only addressed the husband. Adam alayhi salam. He did not talk to Hawa in that case. He said, وَيَا آدَمُ أُسْكُنْ أَنْتَ وَزَوْجُكَ الْجَنَّةِ. You and your wife are going to move to Jannah. He did not talk to Hawa to tell us, as the scholars of tafsir took from this ayah, it's one of the evidences that the husband decides and the wife follows his decision. At the end of the day, also we agree that we can change our opinions. Sometimes we're wrong. I'm not right every single time. Sometimes I'm wrong, and I have to be willing and accepting to change my opinion. If we have this mindset, I think you will have lesser problems. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here in the third statement. The first statement was about abuse or about injustice. And the second one was about financial abuse. First one, لا يحل لكم أن ترثوا النساء كرها. To use her as an object, not a human being, as a kind of like a part of the inheritance. And then the second one is ولا تعضلوهن لتذهبوا ببعض ما أتيتموهن. That's financial abuse, as we just discussed today in the khutbah. The third statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving the instructions. What are we supposed to do? He says وعاشروهن بالمعروف. Al-mu'ashara is that partnership. When I'm living with someone in the same place, she is my partner, she is my spouse. The way that I should deal with her or live with her is bil-ma'ruf. Al-ma'ruf is everything. Al-ma'ruf, this word ma'ruf means anything that is good and encouraged in the book of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and is reasonable to people from our actions and our words. Like the way I speak, I should be nice when I speak. I should be patient when I deal with her. I should be kind. I should be tolerant. All these qualities are praised in the Quran and in the Sunnah, and even people agree on them. So that is what we mean by the word ma'ruf. وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. It's a very general. He did not give certain rights or certain instructions, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm not going to go into so much details because you know what? We have different cultures here. And I don't know what you have inside of your house. As I said today in the khutbah, everybody has the right to organize his house and the relation between him and his wife the way he likes. It's up to them, it's not up to me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives general instructions. And then people have some agreements between them. They reach some agreements. وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Let's see what Al-Imam Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala said. But before we talk about what Imam Ibn Kathir said and what Imam Ghazali said, there's one main ayah that we need to keep in mind when we speak about the rights of the two spouses on one another, and one main hadith. An ayah and a hadith. Every time we speak about the rights of the spouses, they have to come up. The ayah is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Meaning, the whole relation between the husband and wife is give and take. I have some rights, I also have responsibilities. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And due to the wives is similar to what is expected from them. What you expect from her, you should give to her. What she expects from me, she should give you. She should give me as a husband. I expect her to beautify herself, to be beautiful. I also have to take care of my physical hygiene and looks handsome as much as I can. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, إِنِّي لَأَتَزَيَّنُ لِمْرَأَتِي كَمَا تَتَزَيَّنُ لِي. You know, when my wife puts makeup for me to please me, he said, I do the exact same thing. Radiallahu anhu, it doesn't mean he puts makeup, but he means like he takes care of himself. Like he brushes his teeth with the miswak at that time, right? He makes sure like he uses the deodorant, right? He takes care of the way, like for example, she likes a certain t-shirt. She likes that color. Every time she sees you wearing that color, she says, oh, this color is so good on you. You should wear that color to please her. I don't just wear whatever I like to tell her I'm the man and I will wear whatever I like. Just to please her, because you don't expect that from her. You don't expect her to wear what she likes. You expect her to wear what you like, what I like as a husband. So the same thing for her. I wear the t-shirt or the pants that she likes. She likes a certain haircut, which is not haram, halal haircut. But I like another haircut. For example, I like to make my hair very short. But she wants it to be a little bit longer hair. She likes a certain haircut. So I shouldn't go fight on something like that. Just do it. Go please her, as long as it's not something haram. Because at the same time, when she goes to have her haircut every 40 days, you ask her to have a certain haircut. Sometimes a certain color. So I should do the same exact thing. So this ayah is so important. All the time, as I told you tonight, it's just going to be general principles. The first one is وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. It's a give and take. We're equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hadith is قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خيركم لأهله وأنا خيركم لأهلي. Everybody is concerned. Who are the best people in the sight of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, the best amongst you are the best towards their spouses. And I am the best towards my spouses, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khalas? So the best one towards his spouse doesn't beat her. She doesn't give him names. He doesn't call her names. They don't insult each other. They don't talk about each other's families in a negative way. They don't give each other's looks. That's خيركم لأهله. That's the best of her spouse or her spouse. His or her spouse. طيب. And all of us know the story that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to joke with his wives and he was smiling the whole time sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he even at some point he used to race with the Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha. Like basically he used to race, like play with her sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know the famous narration that sometimes she told us that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam raced with her one time, and she was a little bit skinny at that time. She was young, so she didn't have a lot of fat, a lot of meat in her. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was able to beat her. He won sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that race. And then she said, after again some weight, I grew a little bit older. We had the same race, and he beat me sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he said, هذه بتلك. Well, it's a tie. You know, we're equal. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to play with her, just to be nice to her. And we know that every single time, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit with their spouses and have samar with them. As-samar, you know, as-samar makruhun ba'd al-isha. We have a hadith that is disliked to have gatherings after Isha prayer, especially if Isha is late. كان رسول الله يكره النوم قبل العشاء والحديث بعده. This is the famous hadith that Rasulullah did not like people to sleep before Isha prayer because they might miss Isha, and to sit down in gatherings to eat or drink and talk for lengthy like for long times after Salatul Isha, because you might miss Salatul Fajr, right? Except for his wives, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's an exception. He's busy outside with the whole ummah, sallallahu, but when he comes home, he has some samar with his wife. That's an exception only for the wife. Talks with her about, he doesn't give her a halaqah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, doesn't sit down to say ayat and hadith. He sits down to talk about worldly affairs, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, about life. About life. Alayhi Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, he actually talked in his Ihya Ulum al-Din, his book, like he has a long chapter about the rights of the husbands and wives, and I'm just going to take very few points from it. One of the points he mentioned is, he started by mentioning this ayah, so in Surah An-Nisa as well, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about our relation with our spouses, he used the word that's very powerful, that tells us how sacred that relation is. He said, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَمِنْكَ وَمِنْ نُوحٍ وإبراهيم وموسى وعيسى بن مريم وأخذنا منهم ميثاقا غليظا. That's Surah Al-Ahzab. In Surah An-Nisa, he said, وَكَيْفَ تَأْخُذُونَهُ وَقَدْ أَفْضَى بَعْضُكُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْكُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. The same word, مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he described only two things. A brother told me one time there are three, but I forgot the third. I need to ask him what was the third again. Only two things, as far as I know, in the Quran are described as مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. Mithaq means covenant. It's very sacred contract. غَلِيظًا means very significant. These two things, one of them is the risala, the mission of prophets and messengers, when he talked about it in Surah Al-Ahzab. And the second thing is the relation between the husband and the wife. It's a very sacred, and it's equal to the mission, the message of the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very sacred relation. And that's the ayah that Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, and it's also in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, ayah number 21. The word ميثاقا غليظا, the last word in this ayah, ayah 21, chapter 4. قال الإمام الغزالي: حسن المعاشرة معها ليس فقط كف الأذى عنها وإنما احتمال الأذى منها. Beautiful wording. Imam al-Ghazali said, to have حسن معاشرة, to have معروف with your wife, is not only that you stop yourself from doing anything harmful to her, but it's also that you expect her to sometimes do harmful things to you, and you are patient and tolerant at all times. Because sometimes we think, you know, we're equal, so if she is not patient with me, I'm not going to be patient with her. But by the way, that's the meaning of qawama, that I have the upper hand. She gets so mad, she breaks things, she just loses it, you know, she loses her temper, and I cannot control that, and I still go and hug her, and I still go and talk to her nicely. That's the meaning of qawama. الرجال قوامون. Sometimes we think qawama is I say and she listens. What if you're wrong? Qawama is I'm more patient. I have more perseverance. And then he said, اقتداء برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. You might not like what I'm saying, but Imam Ghazali says that's what Rasulullah used to do, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. One time Sayyidah Aisha got mad. She got jealous because the Prophet was sitting in Aisha's house. It was her night. And when one of his other wives, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, brought some food in a bowl for Nabi Sallallahu and Aisha. So Sayyidah Aisha, she got jealous. What did she do? She broke the plate, the bowl. What did Rasulullah do? What would you do back home? If this happens back home, I'm not talking about Canada now. It's absolutely different. We need to relate to the environment we're living in. Back home, if this happens, oh, I'm the man. I have qawama. You know what? I'm not gonna say it because it's on video. But you know. But here we have to control our anger, and that is Islam. What did Rasulullah do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That's the question that we're looking for. We want the answer of that question. That's the question that we want to answer. What did he do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What was his reaction? She was so mad. She broke the bowl of food. She's mad. She broke the door. She broke some of the drawers. Just lost it, you know. What was his reaction, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He just said, غارت أمكم, and he smiled. He just smiled and said, your mother, the mother of the believer, she's become jealous. Radiallahu anha. That was his reaction. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So beautiful. Tolerance. She's mad. And anybody gets mad when your wife acts like that. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is different. SubhanAllah. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, it's so important as well to try to have some good time with your wife when you can, tell some jokes, halal jokes, play with her, watch something funny, right? Have good time, smile together. You know Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu? You know him. He was so strict, right? He had so strict personality. That's how Rasulullah described him. قال وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر. The most strict amongst my friends, my companions, is Umar radiallahu anhu. What did he say, Umar about dealing with your wife? He said, because he's the student of Rasulullah, he said, ينبغي للرجل أن يكون في أهله مثل الصبي. Outside I'm a doctor, outside I'm a businessman, outside I'm a boss at work, but when I come home, I cannot be a doctor at home. I cannot act like I'm an engineer. I cannot act like I'm a director. I cannot act like that. Sayyidina Umar said, ينبغي أن يكون مثل الصبي. Sabi means young boy. Sayyidina Umar, the most strict Sahabi, like a boy, meaning you play with her sometimes. You know, have some board games, halal board games. Play board games at home. Say some jokes. Smile with her. Be smiley as much as we can, as you can. مثل الصبي, just like a young boy. You know, when the kids play together, I need to be like this with my spouse, with my wife. And then he said, فَإِذَا الْتَمَسُوا مَا عِنْدَهُ وَجَدُوهُ رَجُلًا. But when they need him in difficult times, they find a man in front of them. He's not a child anymore. He's not going to act like a young boy again. When they need him, there's a problem happening, they need to solve the problem, they need to take a decision. We are the men here. We're going to take a decision. طيب. The last statement, inshallah ta'ala, and I'm going to end up soon, this حلقة, قال الله عز وجل فإن كرهتموهن فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله في خيرا كثيرا. That's actually like a principle that we can use in our whole life, not only in our marital relationship. فإن كرهتموهن, if you hate her for some of her actions, she's impatient, sometimes you feel she's acting like a child. She's not responsible. For example, she doesn't cook on time. She, whatever, you know, she doesn't listen to you all the times. She gives you a hard time. She argues a lot. She speaks too much, whatever. Sometimes you hate some stuff from your spouse, right? And they also hate something from us. But today we're talking about their rights. قال فإن كرهتموهن, if you hate something, فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا, perhaps you might hate something, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put a lot of khair in that thing that you hate. You don't know where the khair is. Always try to look at the positive side. Always try to look at the positive side. And I want to tell, especially the youth, that when you think about marriage, marriage is not only about hate and love. It's like a whole package. That's the word that I want to use. It's a real life. It's not just love and hate. Imagine if that person after marriage, he's not as handsome as he used to be, or she's not as beautiful as she used to be. Are you going to just divorce because he's not anymore handsome or she's not anymore beautiful? There's a ishra that remains. وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. That harmony and tolerance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts between us. So we don't evaluate things just based on how they look like. It's a whole package. It's a whole life. The marital life is just a piece of life. It's a part of this life. طيب. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Let me just end the halqa with this beautiful hadith. قال لا يفرك مؤمن مؤمنة. يفرك الفرك فرك is to hate someone so much and you forget everything good about him. Sometimes when we're so mad at our spouses, we forget everything good. At that moment when we're angry, but when we calm down, we think rationally. But when we're so mad, we're so emotional. So when I'm so mad because she gave me a hard time, I hate everything about her. And I just want to be by myself right now. And then when we hate everything about a person, you can't see anything good in his personality or her personality. In Arabic language, that's called farq. Farq. What is it going to lead to? Divorce. Because I cannot say anything good. It's all bad. So I want a divorce. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, لا يفرق مؤمن مؤمنة. That's in Sahih Muslim. A believer should not have that feeling towards his spouse. She shouldn't have that feeling towards her husband. Always focus on something positive. You will find it. That's why you're living together. And then he said, إن كره منها خلقا رضي منها آخر. If he hates one of her qualities, he loves something else. Just remind yourself that you love something else about her. That is the last hadith that I want to mention tonight in Sahih Muslim. To speak about the rights of the husband and wife, we can have this like many halaqat and many khutbas, but I just wanted to mention some principles that I told you today, general principles that we can, inshallah ta'ala, try to implement in our life, the two ayat and the two ahadith that I've mentioned, and how the Sahaba, such as Sayyidina Ibn Abbas and Sayyidina Umar, used to deal with their spouses. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروا من كل ذنب إنه غفور رحيم. Just to make a brief dua, inshallah ta'ala. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، صل عليه في الآخرين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما جهلنا وانفعنا يا ربنا بما علمتنا وزدنا يا ربنا علما. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا وانزع الغل والحقد من صدورنا. آمين آمين آمين. وصل اللهم على نبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.